Hi, everyone. My name is Ira Irvani. I'm a senior here at UC Santa Cruz studying film production. My research centers around the Motion Picture Production Code of 1934 and how it affected gender, sexuality, and artistic expression. So what I've done is I've taken my research paper and made a short film based on my thesis. And working with Joshua Tuthill, I've combined those two into a more closely related project in Story Maps. And Story Maps is a story authoring web-based application that enables you to share your narrative text and other multimedia content. So here I just have a short clip from my film. Still working on sound, so it's mute, it's silent. So don't, if you can't hear anything, there's a reason why. Okay, so the production code was a set of rules that was put in place and enforced in 1934 that every American motion picture had to abide by in order to be distributed and shown. Some of the rules included no miscegenation, which means no interracial relationships, no white slavery, a man and a woman cannot be shown in a bed together, anything involving the bathroom or reproductive system was off limits, so you couldn't show a toilet flush or say the word pregnant. And that's why from the late 30s to the mid 50s, American audiences don't see much nudity or gay stuff, or if you do, it's done in a super nuanced and creative way. So my research really focuses on the effects of the code on gender, sexuality, the body, and overall visual storytelling. So this next slide here, one of the big things I talked about in my paper is the different kinds of women at the time in pre-code cinema. On the far left, we have Mae West, who is a famous actress and who is just very aggressively sexual and extremely cisgendered. In the middle, we have Marlene Dietrich, who is another famous actress, who kind of like plays off of these male and female archetypes, but still is considered something beautiful. And then on the far right is Dorothy Osner, who is a respected film director from the time and who is obviously very extremely masculine. So these slides here, on the left, we have a pre-code film, Christopher Strong from 1933, directed by Dorothy Osner. And this scene is a very clear opinion on gender performance and the idea of women getting ready for a party. And on the right is a post-code film, Bringing Up Baby, with the same actress. And it's just a coincidence that the dresses look the same. But an example of pre-code and post-code films, and Christopher Strong, Hepburn's character, is very independent and confident, even in this like moth alien costume. But on the right, in Bringing Up Baby, her confidence is very like watered down and subdued, and she's more reliant on her male co-star. So this is a gift from the movie Night Nurse, and the reason why it's in here is, these are just two women taking off their clothes after a long day of work. There's nothing else implied here. They're not taking off their clothes in a sexual way. Which goes into my next point about how the code usually interprets anything that is mildly taboo as wrong. If something was wrong with this image, the production code enforcers would be the first ones to say something. I think that they're the ones that have their heads in the gutters. So my film takes place in 1934, right after the code is being enforced, and it's between an editor and a production code enforcer, and they're kind of battling over a scene in a film called Dream Story that needs to be altered. So here I referenced the movie Morocco, which is another pre-code film. These next two slides, I have references from the film. And, the reason why is because, Marlene Dietrich kind of like, has this beautiful masculine attire, and she's staring at her scene partner, Gary Cooper, who is doe-eyed and like has this flower in his hair. And I think, this film is my shining example of gender and sexual ambiguity in pre-code film. So I also put a print of Paul Cadamus's YMCA Locker Room, and the reason why it's featured in the film is because Cadamus was a controversial gay artist from the 1930s. He became famous after being fired from the New Deal agency for painting a mural similar, like this one, being very homoerotic. The controversy launched his career, but Cadamus's portrayal of a masculine gay man was the first of its kind, because before, the term gay usually referred to a man who was a pansy or sissy and had less to do with sexuality and more to do with a man who was more feminine. So everything I just talked about and showed you is I put on a website called StoryMatch, which I've used specifically to help bridge the gap between my research and the narrative film. I'm gonna just jump into that right now. Here. So let me just scroll through this. So here I have a clip from my film, but above it I have just an excerpt from my research that I took from the actual production code. And it says like, this should not engage the audience in a positive, sexual, or beautiful way. And I think that's really like just so heart-wrenching. So I put it in the film, and I just also wanted to show you this clip from the film.
This kind of love cannot be shown in a positive, sexual, or beautiful way. And why not? I shouldn't have to explain myself to you.
So I think it does a lot more to have the information here living together. There was a lot of work and time put into the film, and I think this was a great way to kind of showcase both of those parts. So here we have, let me just scroll through here. So this section is when I talk about the film. So Elizabeth is the production code enforcer, but she's also a closeted lesbian. So throughout the film and the story, she is censoring the film, but also having to censor herself and her feelings towards the editor. I wanted Elizabeth to have this kind of physical transformation after seeing film. The image on the right is at the beginning of the film when she's initially seeing this film, and she has less of an idea of her physical self, her body, and then after seeing film, she's more kind of stylishly conservative. And the reason why I did that is because cinema is the most personal art form. People are influenced by the characters they see on screen. The biggest argument for starting the code was that film is like no other art form, and it's experienced by everyone, and it should be regulated for the safety of Americans. And so here is the editor, Anita. who is the editor of Dream Story, the film in question. I wanted her to be a new woman and a mix of Marlene Dietrich and Dorothy Osner. So the film in question, Dream Story, is based on Arthur Schnitzler's 1926 novella by the same name. It was also made into a movie called Eyes Wide Shut in 1999. But I wanted the film in question to be an adaptation because at this time, adaptations of written works or plays were always heavily edited and censored to the point that they do not resemble the original source material. Let me see here. So my whole purpose for this was to shine a light on how gender and sexuality was not always the way it was today. I use these examples from P-Code film as proof that gender and sexuality was not always as taboo as it still is today. I feel like this moment goes by unnoticed, which is what the code intended. And what I plan to do with this project is to try to bring more attention to what cinema could have been. And that's it. Wait, I have 2 more minutes. Just kidding. I have a couple more things I want to share since I have a couple more minutes. Give me 2 seconds. Let's go back to share screen. Okay, let me scroll up here. I didn't get to talk about this, but I really want to talk about this is these 2 films that show gay kisses. On the left is Wings from 1927. This is actually the first film to win an Oscar for Best Picture. And this kiss isn't like a gay sexual kiss. These characters are like very close friends, and it's, you know, a form of, you know, I love you as a friend. And I think that, you know, that's something that we don't see anymore. But this kiss is very much sexual. This character on the right is a mistress. But yeah, I have those that kind of opens up this website, and I think I like the slider. Okay, now I'm done. Sorry.